I'm Captain Ava Lewis. Most people here think I'm just the translator. They see a woman in heels, holding a glass of water, nodding politely while retired colonels swap stories about deployments I already read about in debriefs years ago. The room smells like old whiskey, cigars, and overcooked hors d'oeuvres. Laughter bounces off the walls a little too loudly, like everyone's trying to outshine everyone else. I stand near the bookshelf, away from the circle of men, listening more than speaking, which fits the role they've quietly assigned me. Someone claps me on the shoulder, says, "Glad they brought you along. We might actually understand the French delegation this time." I smile, tight and quiet, like I've done this 100 times. I have. They don't ask what I do now. They remember me from 5 years ago, tagging along with a NATO unit in Europe, keeping pace with conversations in 5 languages but never earning the room's respect. The assumption stuck, and I let them. Sometimes silence is safer. I watch the way their wives size me up young enough to be suspicious, not flashy enough to be interesting. One of them asks if I ever thought about teaching instead. I answer politely and sip my water. The clink of ice sounds sharper than it should. It's easier to let people fill in the blanks with what makes them comfortable. They prefer a version of me that fits their mold. The harmless, well-mannered linguist with no rank to threaten theirs, no past that rivals their war stories. But I didn't come here to correct them. I came because someone asked me to, and I know how to follow an assignment, even the uncomfortable ones. I make my way to the back of the room as they start another round of Remember When. I keep my posture relaxed, my smile subtle. Nobody notices the slight shift in weight on my left hip or how I never let my back face the entrance. Let them think I'm just the translator. For now, I spotted him near the bar, holding court like nothing had changed. Colonel Carter still carries himself like he owns every room, even if his uniform is long retired. He wears a loud shirt and a louder voice, tossing back a scotch as if medals still hung from his chest. He doesn't recognize me at first. Not really. His eyes flick over me, settle, and then light up with a familiar smirk. Well, if it isn't little Ava, the language lady. He doesn't say it with malice. That was the worst part. He means it like a pat on the head. I force a smile. My jaw is tight, but I keep it together. "Evening, Colonel." I say, careful with my tone. Old habits die hard, especially when you're raised to keep rank, even when it's undeserved. He turns to the man beside him, a logistics officer I vaguely remember. She used to work under me in Kandahar. Sharp tongue, sharper ears. Great at translating. Not so great under pressure, right, Ava? He chuckles, elbowing the other guy like we're all in on the joke. What I remembered was different. I remembered the night our convoy route was compromised, and I proposed a safer detour. He ignored me, said I should stick to French verbs, and leave the tactics to the men. We lost 2 that night. The next morning, he told me to stay in my lane. The story he is telling now has none of that. Just a funny little memory about how I once mistook a dialect and nearly caused a brawl, which never actually happened. I stand there, smiling through it, gripping my glass a little too tightly. No one questions him. He is the storyteller. I am the sidekick. I think about all the nights since then. All the briefings I led. All the decisions that landed on my desk. I think about Operation Sentinel when I had to authorize an extraction under fire. My voice didn't shake then. It doesn't shake now. He leans in, that familiar swagger still lingering in his posture. "So, who are you babysitting tonight?" he asks. "They brought you in to keep the interpreters in line?" I meet his gaze. Steady. "Cold. Something like that," I say. There are a dozen things I want to say. A dozen moments I could have thrown in his face. But that isn't how this works. Not yet. People around us laugh at his jokes. The kind of laugh that follows a powerful man, even when the joke falls flat. I let the silence stretch between us, watching him grow slightly uncomfortable. Not enough to stop. Just enough to notice I'm not playing along. I had followed orders under him, bit my tongue, taken the assignments no one else wanted. I had earned a reputation that moved faster than my name. But to him, I will always be the girl with the clipboard. That used to bother me. It used to eat at me. But now, all I feel is stillness. That deep, cold stillness that comes before something shifts. I glance around the room. At the men in their second-hand glory. At the wives sipping Chardonnay. Nobody here knows who I am. Not really. But someone will soon. I didn't come here to prove anything. But I'm not going to keep pretending. Not for him. Not anymore. By day, I'm just a face in a crowd. A linguist. A quiet, reliable woman who knows how to fade into the background. But when I step into the skiff and the door seals behind me, everything changes. That's where Ava Lewis disappears, and Alpha 6 takes over. Alpha 6 doesn't translate documents. She commands covert teams across 3 continents. She signs off on operations that don't officially exist. Operation Ghostlance was one of ours. A high-value extraction from a warlord's compound, no backup, no margin for error, one wrong move, and 6 agents vanish without a trace. I planned that op in 8 hours, with 4 feeds, 1 asset inside, and a satellite window the size of a minute. We got them out clean. There's no glory in my world. No press briefings. No medals are handed out at ceremonies. Only outcomes. Safe return. Silent success. I carry that weight alone, because that's how it has to be. When the mission goes wrong, it's on me. When it goes right, nobody knows it happened. People think I'm quiet because I'm shy. Truth is, I've been trained to be invisible. Not just in the field, but in life. The fewer people who see, the more I can do. Secrets are oxygen in my line of work. Too much exposure, and everything burns down. There are nights when I come home from the command post, and the silence hits harder than the chaos. I can't talk to anyone about what I do. Not my mother, not my friends, not even the people who think they know me best. Especially not them. But I wouldn't trade it, not for a simpler job, not for peace. Because I know what I've built, the teams I've led, the lives we've saved. I know what it means when they call me in the middle of the night and wait for my voice before they move. I don't need them to call me a hero. I don't need them to understand. I just need them to stay out of the way. Let them think I'm the translator. That's fine. But when I speak, worlds move. And I don't need a name badge for that. I've got a call sign, Alpha 6. That's who I really am. The tattoo sits just below my left shoulder blade. Simple. Clean. 2 black lines, crossing at an angle, with a small A, 6 beneath them. Most people think it's personal or artistic. That's the point. It's not in any database, not tied to any formal unit, but to a handful of people in this world, that symbol means command. A 6 isn't a code name, it's a designation. It marks the acting commander of a task force that technically doesn't exist. A multinational black cell formed during a decade when enemies stopped wearing uniforms and battlefields blurred into shadows. The role isn't awarded, it's passed down, not with ceremony, but with silence. I took the mantle 2 years ago, after the previous Alpha 6 vanished during an unsanctioned op in Sudan. They never found the body. Just a sat phone with 1 message left unread. My name. That was the only transition. 1 title retired, another activated. Only the highest clearances know the task force exists. Even fewer know the call sign. It's not spoken aloud unless you've earned the right to hear it. In some rooms, if you say Alpha 6, they'll ask what language that is. But in the rare rooms where someone does recognize it, the reaction is instant. Their eyes shift. Their voice lowers. The tone changes because they know what it means. That they're standing in front of the person whose word reroutes drones and redirects entire strategies. It's not respect in those moments. It's something colder, like seeing a ghost with rank. There's no medal for it. No biography. Nothing tells you what I've done. Just the ink. Just the knowledge that I carry decisions no one else will ever read about. And that weight doesn't go away when I leave the briefing room. I've sat across dinner tables where men brag about medals I helped them earn. I've shaken hands with generals who called me a good support asset, never realizing they'd once received an order that traced straight back to me. I never correct them. That silence is part of the job. But the thing about secrets is they never stay buried forever. Someone always sees the ink, and when they do, everything changes. Someone's about to. The ice in my glass has melted, leaving the water lukewarm. I am standing near the fireplace when Carter's voice cuts through the noise. "Hey, Ava," he says with a grin. "Be a gem and grab us another round, will you?" Laughter follows. Loud and lazy. A few heads turn, the kind of joke that lands because no one expects it to sting. I don't flinch. I don't speak. I just turn toward the bar like I've done this 100 times before. My steps are slow, controlled. Inside, my pulse ticks upward. The bourbon is on a side tray by the window. I pour it clean, no ice, just the way he likes. My hand never shakes. On the way back, I shift the glass to my left and adjust the watch on my right wrist. The fabric of my sleeve slides back just enough. Black lines, small letters, a 6. 3 seconds is all it needs. I don't look at it. I look at the generals seated. Just to Carter's left, Lieutenant General Harold Sloan, Oversight Command, formerly AFRICOM. He has seen my briefing packets more times than I can count. His glass freezes midway to his mouth. He blinks once. The smile doesn't fade. It vanishes, like a circuit has shorted in his head. His eyes dart to the mark, then to my face, then back again. He knows. The room doesn't go silent all at once. It is slower than that. A hush spreads outward like a slow leak in a sealed chamber. Sloan sets his glass down with a click, too deliberate to be casual. His spine straightens. His eyes don't leave me. Carter is mid-story again, laughing too loudly. Still unaware. Still holding court. I stand just behind him, drink in hand, the mark still visible. I catch Sloane's gaze. Hold it. 1 heartbeat. 2. That is all it takes. The look in his eyes changes from confusion to confirmation. He isn't just recognizing a tattoo. He is recognizing the command. The kind that never gets introduced at parties. No one else notices. Not yet. But he has. And once one person sees it, it's only a matter of time before everything else unravels. General Sloan stands slowly, as if trying not to break the moment. The chatter around him dies on instinct. His eyes stay fixed on me. Not the drink, not Carter, just me. "Ma'am," he says, quiet but clear. "I didn't know." The room goes still. You can hear the faint buzz of the overhead lights. Carter's laugh stalls in his throat. His brow furrows, confused, until he follows Sloane's gaze. He turns, sees the mark. His mouth opens, but nothing comes out. He looks at me like I am someone else, someone impossible. The glass in his hand lowers, forgotten. His posture, once cocky and sure, falters. I don't move. I don't blink. The drink still rests in my left hand, steady. The silence presses in from all sides. Sloane's back straightens. His voice takes on the clipped precision of habit. "Commander," he says, this time louder, clear enough for the whole room. That word cracks through the space like thunder in a church. A murmur rises, then silence again. Carter steps back. His jaw clenches. His face is pale. I look at him. No smile. No anger. Just calm. Measured. A lifetime of being talked over. Looked past. I let it all sit in that moment. People start to shift. Not physically, but subtly. Their eyes move to me, then back to him. The power in the room has shifted. No one says it, but they all feel it. Carter tries to recover. He gestures toward me like I'd fooled him, like I'd set him up, but he knows better, and so does everyone else. I give Sloan a small nod. A quiet acknowledgement. He responds with a hand to his chest. A gesture of respect. Rank. Recognizing rank. No one laughs now. No more stories. No more old war tales. Just the reality of the present. One where I am not the background. I am in command. And for the first time, they all see it. For years, I thought I needed his approval. I chased it without realizing I was chasing it. Every mission, every flawless report, every sacrifice is made in silence. A part of me hoped someone like Carter would finally say, "You did good, Lewis." Back then, I thought recognition meant validation. That if the man who once told me to stay behind a desk could see who I became, it would fix something inside me. But standing in that room, with his pride collapsing and mine rising in full view, I feel nothing like triumph. Just release. I remember a mission 3 years ago. Operation Halberd. We had one asset trapped behind enemy lines. No support, no backup. Only a 5-minute window for exfil. I had to choose between calling it off and sending a team in with near-zero survival odds. I gave the green light. The extraction was brutal, but we got him out. Barely. I signed the casualty list myself, then briefed 2 Joint Chiefs without sleep. No one from that room knows the name Ava Lewis. But Alpha 6 got a direct commendation from the Secretary of Defense. That was the day I stopped needing anyone else to tell me I was enough. Carter never saw those missions. He only saw what he wanted to. The girl with perfect grammar, always ready to take notes. He wrote my story before I had a chance to live it, and I let him. Until now, he doesn't speak. Just stands there. Shoulders square but hollow. His silence tells me everything. Regret. Maybe. Confusion. Definitely. But none of it matters anymore. I scan the room one last time. The general, now standing at ease. A few faces are watching me with new eyes. Some ashamed. Some unsure. That doesn't matter either. I didn't come here to break anyone. I came because someone had to see me, even if it was only for a moment. My voice cuts through the stillness. Calm. Firm. Alpha 6 is wheels up at 0600. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I turn without looking back. The hallway outside feels cooler. Quieter. Like the air is finally mine again. Behind me, no one moves. No one dares. I walk out into the night, the weight gone from my chest. I am not the translator. I am not the assistant. I am not the girl chasing approval. I am the one who gives the orders. The one who makes the calls. The one who walks into silence and comes back with lives. And I don't need anyone to clap for that. I just need to keep going. The room is full of brass, Joint Chiefs, agency leads, and task force directors. All eyes on me. The satellite feeds flicker quietly behind me. The data streams, updating every second. I am halfway through the threat analysis when my phone buzzes once in my pocket. I don't check it right away. Protocol. Focus. Clarity first. I wrap the briefing in 15 minutes. Answer 2 questions on escalation thresholds. Then dismiss the room. No one lingers. They all know I have another meeting stacked behind this one. Most of them do too, but I lead it. When the door closes, I finally look at the screen. One message. From Carter. 6 months. 3 words. Stand out more than the rest. Didn't know. You earned it. Proud to have served with you. There is no weight to it. No sting. Just a moment. One man trying to rewrite a history that has already passed. I don't feel anger. I don't feel pride. I just feel still. Once, I would have read that message a dozen times. Searched it for meaning. Now, I understand exactly what it is. An echo. A ghost of the validation I used to chase. It is not mine anymore. My approval comes in lives saved, missions completed, and silence held under pressure. I don't respond. Don't need to. The screen dims on its own as I slip the phone back into my pocket. I turn toward the next set of reports, already stacked on the secure console. A voice in my head says it plainly. One I haven't heard in a while. You're free. And I am. Alpha 6 looks down at the new targets, breathes in, focuses, then gets back to work.